our data wall, and the way we did it is we have 8th grade on the top and we did 7th grade on the bottom. So each group is together for both grade levels, and we color coded the cards. So our LEP students are blue, our SPED students are pink, and the purple are the ones that are LEP and SPED. So that way we know which ones are big safeguard areas and our double dippers. And then we color coded our 5 groups. So orange is our low category, and then it goes to green, red, blue, and yellow is the highest. And so each test, each district or state test, because those are the ones we used for our data wall, they got a dot that associated them with whichever group they landed in, so we could kind of see their growth. So we had some kids that started higher and they may have moved down and they've kind of struggled. So then we start looking at the SEs, like, okay, what was their gaps? What made them drop? Was it high absence rates? What was that? And then we have other students that struggled and then they'd move up. So this one was green and then he moved, or was orange and he moved to red. And so that's kind of how we gauge it. And so right now the 7th grade teachers are putting their last STAR test on there to kind of see where did they start the year. So we'll look at their first S, what category did they start the year in, and then where did they end the year. So we'd look at the second S to kind of see what their growth was for this year.
Well, when we first were trying to figure out how we were going to use the data wall, and we had ideas, and when we first put it up, we didn't really see how we would use it. But once we got to the second test that we could use the data and move it, it was really good to pinpoint those kids that are making growth, or the kids that we needed to figure out what we could do to help them make growth. So I found it very useful, and when we get our data, that's like the first thing we do is come and do this.
My initial reaction was, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Kind of scared of where it was headed, but it was an eye-opener because I saw where the kids came from, where they were at, and eventually now I'm seeing where they're going, where they came to. I started off last year at 7th grade, so when I got those kids, it's the same kids that I had last year, so I knew what they were capable of doing. And then when I had them this year, I really got to see them grow. The numbers made me focus on what I needed to focus more on, especially if the percentages were low. Okay, I need to go back and I need to readjust my planning, readjust my teaching to get them up where they needed to be.
This girl, she had been teetering back and forth here, and then for the STAR test, she moved up to the highest group, and she had started to come to tutorials, and she was really excited when I told her score last week that she had gone up so much.
So this is our original data wall before we had the student information. I put it up by SE, and that way we could track how we performed as a campus on each SE for every district and state test. The red and yellow dots that we had initially put on the SE was our performance compared to the district on last year's STAR. So if it was red, then we were below the district average, and if it was yellow, then we were either above or tied with the district average. We would use this during planning to kind of determine, do we need to change how we taught it compared to last year if we were above or below the state, or even if we, or the district, and even if we were above the district, like this one we were above at 46, you don't really want to settle for 46, so we would kind of still look, okay, what can we do to keep improving that? So instructionally, as an instructional coach, this was really helpful for me because when writing tests and planning, we could go look at the SEs and how we did, and it was on the wall. We didn't have to dig through computer files, and so that was the second component of our data wall that we used.
In the classroom, it helps me see where my kids are going because I can remember what color they were and where they need the help.
We were here. What happened in this area? The student dropped. Why did they drop from blue to green? Where do we go wrong? What do we need to do to reteach or to help that student get back to where they were? Or on the positive side, they could have said, hey, they were in green and they moved all the way up to blue. Did all the students do that? Why did this student do that? Are they coming to tutoring? And it helps us to talk and have a good conversation using our data. And it's just another way to look at it, a good graph for us.
I think we've been able to target certain students and see what their needs are, but the other part of the data wall with the SEs we've really used in planning to see where we need to improve and see how we did last year. If we look up there and we didn't do so well last year, then we need to change our instruction for this year. And a lot of times I will run down here between classes just to look at the wall to see, okay, what SE are we talking about? What are we doing? Because this isn't right. It's a lot easier to have the visual up there and how we did compared to the district, how we did. I know on our team, we're very good about, okay, you did really good at this. I didn't do so well. What did you do different than I did? So that's how we've used it pretty much a couple times a week when we're in here in our PLC.